Hey guys, this is going to be a video response to knifecrazycreator, and I want to give a quick response to a review that he did on his cold steel pocket Bushman, and it's one of his most recently uploaded videos. But what I wanted to respond to was a part of his video where it seemed like he was having quite a bit of trouble opening his pocket Bushman with one hand, and it also appeared that the closing of the pocket Bushman was somewhat difficult as well. So I wanted to show him my pocket Bushman and give a few examples of how it opens one-handed and how smooth my action on the knife is. And as you can see, it opens very quickly. See if I can close it one-handed here. Closes fairly smoothly as well. And this did take a little bit of practice, I'm not going to lie about that. But as far as the overall operation of the knife, it does seem to be quite a bit smoother and looser than yours. And one of the things that I did as soon as I bought mine, I did notice that it was quite stiff and hard to open as well. But one of the things that I did try to fix that, I actually added a little bit of lubrication to the pivot point and the bushings up on this end of the knife. I just went ahead and added some in between the blade and the handle, again where the pivot and the bushings are. I also added just a little bit back here where that lock bar is, and also down here where the lock bar contacts the spring and rubs against the handle just a little bit. Once those were lubricated, I did go ahead and add just a little bit down the length of the handle where the lock bar might possibly contact the fold here. And once I did that, I just went ahead and kind of worked the blade back and forth several dozen times, kind of in this manner. Definitely want to be careful not to get it too far down where it'll close on your finger. But I opened it, closed it, opened it, closed it. And I also actuated that lock quite a few times, just making sure that I could maybe polish that up and loosen that up a little bit. Just kind of doing this, or maybe even opening it. Just pulling that back and forth, kind of breaking that spring in a little bit, as well as polishing the lock bar and the metal on the handle to where it'd be a little bit smoother and have a little bit less friction. And along with the lubrication, that really helped to kind of break that free and get a really smooth actuation on that lock bar, which I think does contribute quite a bit to the smoothness of the opening. Especially in the initial opening, as well as unlocking the bar. Another thing I noticed you might have an issue with since you took your knife apart, you may have simply just tightened that pivot screw up just a little bit too much. I have not adjusted mine at all that I recall. It doesn't have any play. At least nothing noticeable, definitely no rattle, anything like that. No front to back play at all. The blade will go from side to side just a little bit, as any folding knife would, but it is still very tight, has a very strong lockup, and like I said, there's no wobble or rattling at all. At the same time, it is definitely loose enough that those bearings aren't getting pinched. And there's no rubbing or anything like that of significance to keep that from opening. So if you just go ahead and lube your pivots, your lock bar, and maybe even more importantly, I'm trying to do this one-handed for you, but if you just kind of pull on that back and forth and kind of polish that lock bar up a little bit, along with some lubrication, of course, I think that will dramatically increase the speed and the ease with which you are able to open your pocket Bushman. And as you can see, it's fairly easy. Granted, I do have pretty big thumbs and medium to large size hands, but I'm really having no problems here opening that up now. Definitely nowhere close to what it was when I bought the thing. Another thing that might help, I'll mention real quickly, is your grip when opening. The way that I do it, I do kind of choke up towards the upper half here to the point that I can pretty much put my thumb over the top. And what I'll do, I'll then pull my thumb back so I can get some extra leverage on that thumb stud. And I'll actually use kind of the ball of my thumb joint there, or kind of the meaty part of my thumb where my fingertip is. And I'll actually use that to open the thumb stud with. And what you end up with is kind of a grip like that, where you're still kind of on the meat of your thumb. And then you can just rotate the blade, start using it. So those are just some quick tips. Let me know if that works for you. Just lubing that up, maybe loosen that pivot a little bit. Work that lock bar back and forth until it's loosened up a little more. And then maybe adjust your grip to use the meat of your thumb. It does take some practice. Definitely would exercise caution, especially if that's kind of a new grip for you, as it can be easy to roll your fingertips and get them caught in between the blade and the handle. But those are things that definitely helped me out. As you could see, definitely increased the speed of my deployment and made this a very usable knife for me. So just some quick tips. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But definitely appreciate your review, loving your videos. And for anyone else watching this, I definitely highly recommend the Cold Steel Pocket Bushman. And real quickly, without taking up too much time, a lot of you guys may be familiar with the initial production of this knife having some severe issues, namely with the lock spring breaking. Cold Steel has remedied that problem. They have redesigned this knife. And since they have done that, I personally have not heard of any failures whatsoever of the spring or the locking mechanism like they were having before. And I myself have opened and closed this knife and used it dozens, if not hundreds of times. And I've really beat on this pretty hard with absolutely no failures, no issues with the spring. And it's really operating just as good, if not better, than the day I bought it. So for 20 bucks that I spent on this, I really can't beat it. For the strength of the lockup and the size of this knife, I really can't think of a better knife for the price. So I definitely recommend this, guys. If you have 20 bucks laying around, get on eBay, do a search for the lowest price, Cold Steel Pocket Bushman. Do yourself a favor and order one. You're definitely not going to be disappointed. And this has easily become one of my favorite EDC blades. And despite the size and even just a little bit more heft than an average knife, it really is one of the most comfortable knives that I have as far as pocket carry. As you can see, you really can't even see it in my pocket. It's not bulgy at all. It's not too big. And sometimes I'll even put it in my back pocket, and it just about disappears, and you'll forget you have it on you until you need it. And even sitting on this thing all day long in my back pocket, not even noticeable. Very smooth, very comfortable, very thin. So that's just some quick thoughts on that, maybe some quick tips on speeding up your deployment. This video is about up, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a video. And hopefully that helps some of you guys out. Hopefully it helped Knife Crazy Creator as well. So that's that. Check out Knife Crazy Creator's channel if you have not already. Check out his Cold Steel Pocket Bushman review. And thanks for watching my video. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys later.